Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys and gals, and our non-binary pals. All I gotta say is, you know what time it is, right? It's time for the VOD, my favorite show of the week. So why don't we get into that? Wait, that's the... that was the set. That was the set. But yeah, hello guys, how are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing fine. I'm a little tired. Oh hey schmoozer, how are you doing? Welcome. Oh, have you not seen this little guy? Freaking love this little guy. He's super cool. He's a lot of fun and I love him. I'm gonna close my window because I have no idea if people can hear what's going on outside of it. There we go. And I just smacked my mic. Wonderful. But yeah. I'd use my other one, but honestly, I've just been so busy today. Also, I got it to work, but I have no idea why the Dr. Peppers are so big. Yeah, anyway, thank you, Rex. Welcome, Lord Rexworth. One of our former guests on the show. He was so cool. Super fun. Anybody from Project Hysteria is super cool. Go support them. They're a really good group. But yeah, he's a little guy. That's all I gotta say. Anywho, forgive me if I'm a little low energy today. I just wrapped up a 4-hour commercial shoot for a 4-hour video shoot for a 30-second commercial this morning, and I had to sprint over here, or just drive over here, and it was a little time. So yeah, and then I have to donate plasma like immediately after this, and then I have to do another video edit tonight. So my day today is pretty fun and pretty busy. I like the little wavy. Rex, can we get a wiggle? Can we get the wiggle, the wiggly one? I love that one. It's so cute. If not, it's totally cool. But yeah, so pardon me if I seem a little low energy today. I assure you, I'm happy, I'm doing fine. You know, just a little more down here today. And that's okay. So why don't we talk about yesterday's show, and then we'll talk about the future. And yesterday's show was a lot of fun. Why? Because we got to have Albie the God, and Albie the God was a lot of fun. Like, he's such a nice guy. He's... Yay! Yay! Freaking love those wiggly guys. Look at them. Just wiggly. Hell yeah. But yeah, Albie was so much fun. And he's such a nice guy, and we had such a fun little conversation about collabing, how to be better at collabing, how to do that. And, you know, you can never get too much advice on how to collab, because for a lot of people, they struggle with either confidence, or maybe they struggle with just trying to come out of their shell and interact with people. And so he offered some really good advice. So if you want some advice on how to set up and how to go about doing collaborations with other VTubers, go watch that episode of the VOD. It is on YouTube now, because guess what? I'm getting in the habit of uploading uploading my streams right after the stream is done. And I'm really getting good at getting into that habit. I just have to get into the habit of making my guest advertisements that are on my Discord. So yeah. For the future, we have we should be having Monday night Elden Ring. I'll figure that out, but if not, you know, we'll figure it out. Yeah, the Wiggly is cute. It's so cute, and I love it. It's a Wiggly in a suit, and that's what's adorable. But yeah, we're still going to be figuring out if we're doing Elden Ring, because Phantom's been very busy doing home repair and stuff, and you know, we don't want to pressure him. We don't want to, you know, push him. If, you know, we got that's more important than streaming, is making sure your house is structurally sound, because we'd hate for, you know, that to just not work. So yeah, we'll figure out Monday. But as for the next episode of the VOD, could have it uploading immediately after stream. Yeah, I'm super happy, because it gives me peace of mind. But yeah, I am so happy and so excited for the next episode of the VOD right after this one. Because it's going to be so much fun, because we'll have Snowy Tequila and Mercury Winds next week. And Mercury Winds and Snowy Tequila are both really cool and really fun people. And so that's in the future, and we'll look forward to that. But as for today is when we should be really happy and really focused on, because we have somebody who we have played with quite a bit on this channel. because they join us for our Dank and Rampa streams on Tuesdays. So if you're not tuning into those, if you've played the game, I recommend you guys tuning into those streams. If not, and you want to play the game, but you have not played it yet, I'd say don't watch the stream, because you will get spoiled. Unless you started from the beginning and you're watching with us, then keep doing that. But the guest we have today has been really nailing home a lot of the fun that we've been doing with that. And not only that, it's just kind of becoming a running gag at this point for all my streams. That whenever this guy shows up, we just immediately start talking about audio stuff, and then all of a sudden the viewer count gets like really low because people leave. And that's okay. I find that really funny sometimes. I jumped out of the comfortable pillow nest so quickly to start my PC for you today. Oh, you didn't have to do that. Comfortable pillow nest? That sounds like fun. I like that. That's what I need. I need a comfortable pillow nest. The best I can manage is a blanket cocoon, but honestly, that's very comfy for me. So yeah. But as I was saying, whenever we talk, it's just everybody leaves the stream or they just stop listening, and we just start talking about audio stuff for like 30 minutes. I mean, this past Monday would be a perfect example of what that was. So yeah, hopefully, we'll talk audio stuff today, maybe. But not as much as it was before, because, you know, sometimes those... Oh, hey, Lunar! Welcome! Thank you for the Dr. Pepper. I also got it to work. I also got the throwing system to work with my VTube studio. The problem is the Dr. Peppers are extremely big for whatever reason, and I don't know why. So I can't change that. How are you gorgeous? Is that how are you, comma, gorgeous? Or how are you gorgeous as in you're asking me, like, are you asking me how I'm doing personally, or are you asking me why I'm so beautiful? That is why commas matter in the English language. One is, how are you doing personally? And the other is, how are you so beautiful? It's really fun. I love grammar and syntax. Personally. Oh, I'm doing good. I'm tired. I did a 4-hour film shoot for a 30-second commercial. And I had to rush over here. Because I was actually not doing... Oh my gosh! It scared the crap out of me. Thank you so much for the follow, Mal. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Take a Dr. Pepper. Take a Dr. Pepper, throw a Dr. Pepper, consume a Dr. Pepper, but most importantly, just be yourself and have fun here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate that. But yeah, I actually didn't do... I did not do audio on this film shoot. I was actually the director. And so I was doing all the directing stuff for this film shoot. So yeah, so let's get into our guest today, because I have a tendency to ramble. So, today, we'll be welcoming one of the silliest self-styled sharks on the internet. Now, this PNGtuber is known for their long tangents, something we have in common, creative music, bad driving, exceptional violence, and boundless himbo energy. Now, whether or not I have himbo energy, I don't know. I just have femboy energy. They've been streaming on YouTube and Twitch since 2015 with no signs of stopping. Everyone, please put your hands together for our guest today, Fourmyle. Woo! There he is. Myle, how are you doing today?
I am here.
Yeah?
I'm good. Well, gosh. Why is that the first? Why is the first question? It's just like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah?
Multiple questions. I'm okay. I was trying to finish lunch while you were talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. You know, spend 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes talking about audio stuff while I'm eating, please. And then you did the intro, and I was like, I gotta put the sandwich down. I'm sorry.
Gotta put the sandwich down.
Yeah. Well, it's a good sandwich. It's a roast beef sandwich. But
I remember last time I've had good roast beef.
Oh gosh, so good. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be talking with you. This is for as long as I've been streaming, this is the first time I've been interviewed. I've done collabs in the past with people, but they've usually centered around either a game or creating something musically.
Yeah.
But I've never been interviewed before. So this is a new experience. I'm excited to see how it goes, and I promise to not I will do my best to not derail us into the realm of audio engineering.
Don't worry.
Shop talk.
I have faith it'll go just fine.
Oh, it'll be just fine.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Don't worry.
But before we get started, you were talking with me before the stream started. You were talking with me about how your day had gone, and you in the start of this interview, you had said that you were the director. And I had in my head, because you were talking about like, oh man, I just got done with like 4 hours of a shoot for stuff. And I was like, oh, that sounds like such a hassle being, a best boy or a mic grip or something must be, running around and everything. You were the director and you didn't say anything. That's so cool. And now it makes so much sense. I mean, it'd be exhausting if you were working on a shoot regardless of the capacity, like in what position, but you're the director. What the heck? That's cool.
Thanks. It's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's very mentally draining because as a director, you're constantly looking at your watch, making sure that you're meeting the time that you need to. And a lot of people are standing around. You're either doing stuff or you're not doing stuff. And the thing is, like, all right, I'm having to micromanage so many things where I'm like, all right, you guys, I want, because it was a very small team. I'm like, all right, you and you, I want you to set up the lights for our next thing. I'm going to speak with the cinematographer. We're going to go talk with the talent, and we're going to be going over blocking and see how we want this frame to go. And so it's and as I'm doing that, we're just constantly adjusting lights because lighting takes the longest time. Because with audio, at least, like, I always do audio. Thankfully, I never work on the camera side. Unless I work as a director. And because this was an ad I proposed that got approved, and it was a 30-second commercial for Gatorade. And my gosh. That's all I'll say about that. It was a lot of fun, and everything turned out really well. We even got this, like, really, really awesome directly under the basket shot. And the thing is, we're using this camera that's worth like $5,000 or $6,000, and just the camera. That's not including the lens. That's just the camera. And so what's so scary is we kind of took a gamble, and we had the dude shooting a free throw. And so the thing is, he's not in view, and so we're trying to get him to swish it, so it just goes straight through. And the scary thing is, as soon as it goes through, having it fall down and hit this $6,000+ camera. Right?
Where you can't exactly put something, you can't put like plexiglass in the way it would seem, because then
it's the glare.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't, there's going to be some obstruction, and it's not going to look as clear as if you just put it all on the line and go for the best.
So I grabbed 2 of our lighting techs and 1 grip, and I said, all right, I need all 4 of us. We're going to stand in a black magic. That's a very good, Rex. Yes, it was a black magic. So the thing is, we wanted to actually go, instead of using like a big red, which we normally use, we decided to go with a Pocket 6K Pro. Which, if we have any filmmakers out there... Oh, hey, Finch, welcome. Oh, and it's Bunny. Look at that. They like your VTuber
Thank you,
design.
Bunny. Thank you.
Oh, welcome, everyone. The gang's all here. And if you guys ever want to, like... all the cool people are here on... Yeah, right? If you guys are ever wanting to do filming, like, if you're ever... Oh, thank you, Luna. If you're ever wanting to do filming... There it begins. Oh, Robin's here too.
I do like how it's just bypassing me entirely.
Yeah. But if anybody here is wanting to to get into filming, to get into filmmaking, or they are a streamer and they want to do more content that isn't just face cam, I would recommend any of the Blackmagic cameras. They're very good at what they do. Now the price will set you back, and this is if you want to use it for filmmaking. Wow, we got that very early on. Yeah, we will do that redeem right after this, and then we'll get into our first official question. But yeah, we're using a Blackmagic 6K Pro, so it records in 6K, and it's a very good camera. And so, but we had all of them. We basically had our cinematographer. He's laying on his back, holding the rig, and holding it straight up, so it's directly underneath the hoop. And it was me and 2 lighting guys and a grip. And pardon me, it was 2 grips and a key grip, and all of us were standing around him. And then as soon as he shot the ball and went through, we kind of were like, all right, this is how, as soon as it comes down, we're immediately gonna punch the ball or catch the ball. Now, thankfully, it took 5 tries, and on the 5th one, he shot it, and as it went down, it swished through, but it went over somebody's head in the back, and it was nowhere near the camera, so nobody had to get it. And it was such a clean shot. That was our money shot right there.
Oh.
And so it's super cool because the entire premise of it is just the dude is failing to play basketball. He's just practicing, he just sucks. And there's a voiceover in the background that's just like that I'll actually be doing the voiceover for.
Ooh, okay.
I'll be doing that this week, where it's just a commentator who's just like who's basically commentating action for action the dude is doing, but the opposite is going to be for Michael Jordan. And so as the dude is shooting his first free throw, he's just like, he airballs, and meanwhile the announcer's like, oh, hello, Lost. Welcome. We're doing good.
Hey,
I'm
Lost.
Doing good. Welcome to have you. And so it'll just be like, he shoots a free throw, he misses it, and so the voiceover will just go like, and Michael Jordan swishes that free throw as easy as he could throw it. And so, you know, then he goes like, what excellent ball handling work here from Jordan as he's attacking the basket. What a dunk! You know, slamming it from downtown kind of thing. And meanwhile, the dude is just opposite to what that is. And so they're just continuously praising Michael Jordan. And this is how I pitched it, was that dude takes a sip of the Gatorade. We see that. He goes back up to the free throw line as he did in the beginning of the thing. And then he shoots and swishes, and that's where we get that swish shot underneath the basket. And as soon as that happens, we just get a commentary of, how did Jordan miss the easiest shot in all of basketball? He should be disappointed with himself. You know, the crowd is just up visibly. They just don't know how he could miss such an easy shot. 3 rings on his hand, and this is what he gives us kind of mentality. And meanwhile, the dude is just the dude is just modest, just like, yeah, I got that. And so it ends with it just ends with the ball rolling into frame next to a bottle of Gatorade, with it really shallow depth of field, so it's very heavily focused on the Gatorade. And it just says Gatorade. It says Gatorade. The guy in the background, very blurry, dunks the ball. You see it very far away, and as soon as he dunks it, underneath it just says, "It's not just for the pros."
Aww.
Like, it's such a good ad, and I love it.
Yeah. Did you also write it? See, I'm gonna interview you here. We just switch our
Yeah.
positions. Did you write the ad as well? Did you make the copy, or?
I did.
Ooh, okay. So you are director, writer.
So
are you producing it, or is it with a team?
It's with a team. But the thing is, I wrote the script, I wrote the brief, so I did all the paperwork. So I wrote it, I storyboarded it, I did our shot list. Oh no, and I forgot to get my talent release.
No.
That's okay. That's okay. We can get that.
They maintain all of their rights. No.
No, the thing is, without the talent release, we can't show it.
Yeah.
And so that's okay. So we'll get but basically all of the paperwork is what I did, and so, yeah, I'm just really excited for it.
I mean, it's a lot of work, but I don't.
What? Mile, did you die?
I moved my keyboard and I hit my space bar, but I just kept talking. Sorry.
That's really funny.
I was saying I don't anticipate that I'll ever see that particular thing, but I can empathize with having such an involved project where there's so many
did
moving
what?
parts that you're you're working on. And man, I'm happy that it's going through for you, and I hope that it continues. I hope you knock it out of the part.
Thank you so much for the sub, Finch. You didn't have to do that. Thank you. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Finch.
that. I really appreciate that. You're awesome. You're super cool.
Oh, super cool, Finch.
Oh, super cool.
Oh, super cool. Talking to Finch like they're a puppy that I found. Like, oh, Finch, you're super cool. Come here.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
A bunch of Dr. Pepper.
I like it. The pansexual pride, the non-binary pride. I respect it.
Oh.
Bunny Junie. Oh, welcome back. Heck yeah, everybody. The gang's all here. I'm so happy.
Yeah, we got a couple bunnies in chat.
Yes, we do. Is that supposed to be a Midwest?
Is that supposed to be a Midwest? No, it's not. It's supposed to be like northern or like a northern Michigan or a
Minnesota.
southern.
It's a Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, eh?
It's very Minnesota.
Very.
It's very much Minnesota. Oh, sure,
You tap
bud.
the ice today? Make sure that you tap the ice before you strap on your skates, kiddos.
Oh, yo,
It's cold, but that doesn't mean that it's thick. You know what I mean? Don't you know? Hey, your uncle Ralph fell through the ice the other week. Don't forget.
I have actual.
Took the paramedics like 2 hours to pull him out. It's a miracle he kept his toes and fingers.
Oh, don't mind me. We're just about to go head to the. Gotta say.
Oop.
Oh.
Yeah, oop. I
just
still
oop.
do that to this day. So, for those that don't know, I was born and raised in Chicago,
Chicago?
which is not like, yeah, Chicago. So it was like, it's not the most Midwest of Midwest places, but everyone there said pop instead of soda, and we say oop. So if I run into it, even today, if I like accidentally bump into a wall in my house or something, I go oop, 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 oop.
See,
Oop.
yeah, like I'm from California originally, and so the amount of things that the way how I speak is very like condensed and just very chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's not more of an accent, it's more of a vernacular. So I lived there for
what is a California aphorism that you would what is something a speech that is unique to
whenever
California?
I walk up to somebody I know and I really like, I always look at them and say sabra.
Sabra.
Or I say sa dude.
Sa dude.
Well, that's like surfers.
Bruh.
That's more surfer than California like
Sabra.
slang. And so like but like stoked, gnarly, those are California, California things. I say SoCal, I don't say Southern California, I say SoCal.
SoCal.
Cali. And so there's just things. My boss makes fun of me every time I say off to or out. Oh, I see. I was just thinking. Don't mind us. That from Minnesota, we're trying to do our best to go to the lake right now, do some ice fishing. Some ice fishing. It's a little crispier right now. Gotta test the ice there. Oh, looks like that ice is thicker than my wife's lutefisk last night. Oh, very much.
Gary was out there in the middle of the lake with his drill at 3:30 a.m., don't you know? He's still out there. He hasn't moved in a while, but he's probably okay.
Can you toss me one of those, like, the good stuff? Gotta make sure we're getting
brewskis.
Them brewskis, a little bit some
Them brewskis.
Them brewskis.
Budweiser. We unironically, I remember growing up in the 90s, and my parents on Ofta.
What is Ofta? I've never heard that.
I need you to do a retake on Oofta.
Oofta. I don't know what Oofta is.
Oofta or Oop.
No, all I gotta say is, freaking love people who just have really nice, really fun accents.
Right? So there was There is a resource online. It is an international it's an international thesaurus
what?
of accents. Yeah, it's an international dictionary or thesaurus of languages, or
Yeah.
not languages, accents. And it's a free resource, so you can just go online. And this team of anthropologists spent years traveling all around the world and recording people who could trace their lineage back a few generations to a particular geographic area. So you'll have like Northern Ireland versus just downtown Londoner versus somebody who's out. I'm really not doing it justice, but like every accent you could possibly think of.
John accent.
Speaking English though. That's the important part is if you
Ofta.
are Ofta.
I'm Ofta. I see.
Ofta?
Oh, like off
Oh, I'm
to...
Ofta. Like,
Yeah,
hey, I'm off to the J.C. Penney's. Do you need anything? Hey, we're off to the Dominick's.
Pardon me, I'm
pick up a
not
couple
Charlie
of...
Barron's.
So if you or anybody else wants to know what a particular accent, like an authentic accent, sounds like,
Just talk to Miles.
there's this resource online, yeah. And I learned about it doing voiceover lessons last year. It's a great resource if you have to mimic a particular accent, but you don't want to come across as like cringe-worthy. Yeah, insensitive or cringe-worthy. There are primary resources you can use to craft your particular accent, which I find. I mean, I've never really wondered that much. Like, oh, what's the difference in how someone speaks English in this part of Russia versus another part of Russia? But they could be so dramatically different, just simply by the culture that those people are raised in, or if English was like a second language that they were going to learn in school, that sort of thing.
All right, here, let me pause the lo-fi for a moment. Let's see. International dialects of English archive. I'm so happy that they distinguish between dialects and accents, because I've talked about that very much on my stream, of the difference between a dialect and accent. A dialect is a different form or a different sound that is produced within one language, whereas an accent is one language influencing another. So for instance, California, New England, Minnesota, Midwestern, Texan, these are all dialects of the English language. Whereas if your first language was Spanish and you spoke English, you would be speaking with a Spanish accent.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't know that. So let's see. Let's listen to Minnesota 1. Female, 1979, I think, is when they were born. They're Caucasian, Minneapolis, and Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Cheeseheads.
This recording, Minnesota 1, is copyright the International Dialects of English Archive. Comma Gets a Cure is copyright Douglas and...
Okay.
In a deserted district,
Yeah, so they
washed her face
they have to put that out there for legal
Then
purposes.
she put on a plain yellow dress and a fleece jacket, so this made me attuned to her.
Is that...
Finally,
Wow.
So what they'll do briefly is they have them all read the same script.
Yeah.
And then once they're done with the script, they'll just talk about their lives. They'll say where they were born, what it was like growing up, all this really cool stuff.
This
paying so much, but Mrs. Harrison, a millionaire lawyer, thought it was a fair price for a cure. My hometown.
Yeah, they sound like normal people.
Well, so that's the whole point, and I can't I'm stuck in an ad right now on the Twitch, so I can't hear what's going on. But that's the coolest part, is it humanizes these individuals. It makes it so that they're not just defined by their accent. You also get to establish how they grew up, who they are as people, where they come from, and it makes at least for somebody who's doing voiceover work, it helps to make sure that you humanize that individual beyond just their accent, beyond just what they sound like. You get the full flesh person.
Who wants to hear what a 40-year-old man from Cork, Ireland sounds like? I want to hear what a 40-year-old man from Cork, Ireland.
This recording, Ireland 9, is copyright the International Dialects of English Archive.
There it is.
And washed her face in a hurry. Then she put on a plain yellow dress and fleece jacket, picked up her kit and headed for work. When she got there, there was a woman with a goose waiting for her.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because one of my favorite YouTubers that I've been watching recently is from Cork, Ireland. And so that is very much how a lot of them sound, because it's a much more rounded way of speaking. Speaking, excuse me.
Speaking.
Because that's the thing. They say the phrase I often use if I want to sound like that, going back to work half country. Well, thank you for coming by, Bunny. And Bunny, just remember, there's the art tournament coming up next month. We'd love to have you. But yeah, just it's Cork, Ireland. It's a very rounded Irish accent, where a lot of the vowels
Kind of forming an O in the back of your throat.
Sort of.
Kinda. It's what it feels like. To me, at least.
And like one of my side issue is that Midwest city dialect is taught to reporters across America because it's very natural. Interesting.
It is.
Huh.
So, and that's so
neutral.
one of the big things for me growing up was people would be like, what's your accent? And I'd be like, I don't have one. Like, I always felt like one of the most, especially moving out to the east. I lived in Maryland for a while, and moving out near the Chesapeake Bay, especially closer to like where a lot of Boston transplants were.
Yeah.
I felt like the most milquetoast person in school.
Oh no.
Because I talk like this. I mean, and as I've gotten older, I can hear some of my drawn out eyes, like I talk like this. And you, as not just for voiceover people or people studying that, but just as human beings, if you really listen to yourself talk,
yeah,
you'll pick up on, wow, I really sound like my dad, or I laugh like my mom. I just find that so fascinating that even for the most unique voices, you can still analyze and distill them back down to how someone was raised, or what languages they learned when they were young, or what their parents sounded like. It's so cool. That's so cool.
It's a really cool audio-based fingerprint, and that's what makes human speech so nice and so unique, is that you can't, and even just listen to the way I'm speaking, where I tend to draw out a lot of the way how I speak, where instead of I speak very much like this, in the same tone and the same cadence every time. You know, I'm taking my time to really form my words, and the dialect and the things change. There's imperfections in my speech. I feel like that's what makes speech so interesting, like human speech, because with the whole AI stuff, I don't think, and I've had this discussion with many people, where they're like, yes, AI is going to take over, and it's going to take over voiceover. Oh my gosh, Garbage Platter, thank you. I love that name. Garbage Platter.
Garbage Platter. Wait a minute, Garbage Platter, where? Yo, thank you for following.
Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Come for the Dr. Pepper, stay for throwing the Dr. Pepper.
Stay for throwing the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Now flee! Now flee!
Scatter! Throws a smoke bomb.
Scatter! It's the cheese! Smoke bomb! Pocket sand!
Pocket sand.
Pocket sand.
So it's just, and maybe we could talk about that a little later when we get to the audio stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I have thoughts on AI that I hope are nuanced.
That are define nuance.
Define nuanced. There's the broad brush. Well, we'll talk about it later, but there's my broad brush emotional feeling, and then there's what I've learned. I turned 35 in a couple of months, so it's what I've learned.
Everybody, call
growing
the old
up.
man old.
Shut up. Shut up. You'll get this way too one day. It's not just me.
Soon you'll find, soon your hair will turn gray. Soon it will fall out.
I used to know what it was, and I was hip with it until they changed what it was.
Coffin Dodger.
Coffin Dodger, shut up. Although I like that.
Oh,
I like that. Coffin Dodger.
4 mile,
Hearse avoider.
4 mile having thoughts, exciting and new.
Shut up, Mal. Also, hi. Thank you for coming over.
Younger than most of my cousins, older than my stepbrothers.
Oh my god. So I will say, what age? Oh god, I feel so dated just saying this way. But what age has shown me, especially for somebody, and I think you could say this for anybody in their 30s and 40s today, is that we grew up at the advent. Millennials especially grew up riding the wave of new technology, especially the internet. So all that we've known is we spent, at least for me, we spent 5 or 7 years with compact Presario projection screen computers that had basic dial-up internet, but we still had regular push-button telephone, wall-mounted telephones. We had to memorize everyone's phone numbers or consult a physical piece of paper written next to the telephone with all the major people's numbers.
That's what I grew up with.
And we didn't have the internet as we know it now. At least the millennials didn't. The older generation, those were the people that were running chat rooms and really creating an online community. But it was millennials that populated those communities and fleshed them out.
Yeah, because I was born in the year 2000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why is that?
It's just you missed so much of the 90s,
I'm
like
fine
all
with
of
that.
it.
Oh, I'm fine with that. Good thing is I was born in a special time where I was in the cusp before I grew up without all this fancy technology that we have these days. And so what I grew up with, yes, we had landlines. We had to still memorize our phone numbers, or we had little address books, which probably a lot of kids these days don't know what an address book is.
Oh god.
And so we didn't.
Well, they do. It's just their contacts list on their phone now.
Exactly. But like I had a physical address book that I kept in my backpack, and I'd write down friends' names so I could talk to them. And I was like, where do they live? 2000s kids got the best. Exactly, that's what I think. Is that between 1995 to 2005 was a really golden year for being born, because you got to be on the cusp of experiencing everything 90s kids had, but you also got to experience the wonder that the 2000s brought. Because the thing is, I got to grow up on things like my family didn't have Nintendo stuff. We had PlayStation, but we grew up with PlayStation stuff and arcade, actual stand-up arcade games, and then just VHS tapes and all that. You know how many times I'd walk into my room, like go to my room, and I had there was this small old TV. Oh my goodness! Mystica.
Hey, Mystica.
Oh, thank you so much for the raid of 4. I really appreciate it. Welcome,
Hello.
raiders. Welcome. My name is Val. I am the host of this VTuber talk show, The VOD, and this is my guest Fourmyle. And
Hi.
We're having so much fun. Please have fun, stick around, have a Dr. Pepper, throw Dr. Pepper. We'd love to have you. You remember, you matter, you exist, and you exist to throw Dr. Pepper. A lot of people can't come to terms with that, but
what is my purpose? To throw Dr. Pepper. Oh God.
Mystica, how is your stream? How are you doing? And it's okay if you want to dip out and go have food or something like that. Streaming is tiring, so please go take your time.
Oh my gosh, it is.
You don't have to stay here. I completely understand. Because I know it's like to be in there and waiting. It's like, all right, okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much. You know what? Hold on. Let me follow back.
Follow the pepper.
All right. There we go.
So we talk about.
Heck yeah, Lunar.
So yeah, you and I feel like our. Because I forget, are people born in 2000 considered millennials? I think it's 85 to 98 or something. I forget.
Yeah, so so technically I would be considered Gen Z.
Okay, but you're.
So it's weird because the nickname that we're kind of giving ourselves is like Zennials or something like that, where it's like
Zennials.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where it's like a mix
as opposed to Zoomers.
Yes. Because like I said, we grew up with some of the same stuff that the millennials did, and so when I was younger, when I was like getting close to the end of high school, I was like, these people, just like, don't call me that, generations. I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't care what people call me. It doesn't define who I am, saying what kind of generation.
I'm not old.
And so, because the thing is that, like I said, I think, and this just happens with every generation, you guys had it easy. You guys got to grow up with so much better stuff than we do. And it's like, that's just a cycle. Silent generation, they got to see, you guys, you baby boomers, you got to grow up without as much war.
So I was about to say, like, baby boomers, the other generation had it so great. They got to fight in a world war.
And then
the generation
and then you move
after that.
And then you move on to something like the baby boomers seeing the Gen Xers of just like, wow, look at that. You guys have better cars, you have better technology. Gen Xers seeing the millennials. You guys have internet, you guys have these video games and all of that. Millennials being to Gen Zers, just like, wow, you have the internet, you have phones, you have so much technology. It's just like, it's a cycle that repeats. So at the end of the day, I feel like we reflect. Yeah, go ahead.
And I agree. I do think, depending on how dialed in you are to economics or politics, though, I think there's a lot more camaraderie between millennials and Gen Zers, because we all kind of recognize, like, weren't things supposed to get easier the older you get?
You just
like, wasn't technology supposed to make things a lot easier, and now it's just a whole lot harder?
Guys, if you ever want to know how to visualize or quantify progress in human history, it looks like a logarithm.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a straight, it looks like it's a line that starts to curve, and if you look at it from the inception of man, the creation of man, up until now, it's only within the last 200 years that curve went up exponentially.
No.
And that's just
just straight up zooped up the y-axis.
Exactly. And that's just how innovation works, because we're at a certain point, humanity is going to hit a wall where we just can't go higher until we somehow break through a barrier of innovation. But yeah. So, anywho, my goodness, we could talk about that forever. I still need to...
I was about to say, like, wasn't there supposed to be a first question or something?
There is supposed to be a first question. We just got
I knew this was gonna happen, and I'm just riding the high.
Oh, it's fine. I love talking about fun topics like that.
Yeah.
So, Mile, can I call you Mile?
Yeah. So I will say, until I started doing the Danganronpa streams, the only things people ever called we were Fourmyle, or
Sexy.
Just not even. It's just disappointed. Like, ugh. So like, Mile is not something I had ever thought of, and that's why I've latched onto it with this group. Is I like it. I like having a unique sort of like, this group knows me as X. So
Your name's X
continue. Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
I mean, if I'm feeling particularly good about myself.
He's like
yeah.
cheer 1,000 bits, and you can call me whatever you
Yeah,
want.
you send half that to me, and I'll let you call me certain things.
He's like, if you cheer 2,000 bits, you can call me a sellout.
I don't. So, oh god, that's a whole other tangent we could go on about sellouts.
not to dogs before Miles'
Hey,
name
Vapor,
is redacted.
Welcome,
Vapor.
Hi, Vapor. So, the idea of selling out now is, to me, no longer the scarlet letter that it used to be. Because so much of what we do online is already monetized. The idea that if Dr. Pepper were to somehow be like, Valentine, it is time to embrace your drink habits and become an official branded Dr. Pepper. No one's gonna be like, oh, Valentine sold out. What the heck, man? All they do is Dr. Pepper merch now. It'd be like, yeah.
Look, they're going places.
Yeah, go get that bread, Valentine, let's go! Like, you're right, Carrion? That would be sick. So, the idea of selling out, I think, went the way of, has has gone the way of the dodo primarily because there is a greater visibility, thanks to the internet, of how much of a struggle it is to be a Twitch streamer or make it quote unquote big or create your own brand and promote it. So the idea of finding sponsorship and changing yourself around to embrace that sponsorship isn't necessarily selling out as much as it is you're kind of just you're getting that bread. And I think a lot of it has to do as well with streamers and media personalities are, and maybe this is just me, seen as having their own set of values and integrity. And they don't necessarily have the same sort of, music 360 deals that we used to deal with, where it's just like, if you're not a big name, streamer and stuff, you don't have to deal with the 360 deal, right? So for those who don't know, a 360 deal in the music industry is you sign away the rights to if you're a vocalist, for example, you sign away the rights to a studio or a media company, the rights to your likeness, image, voice, past songs, present songs, future songs up until a certain, year, however long the contract lasts, your traveling expenses, a portion of your live performance fees, the rights and licenses to anything that you produce. It's 360 is exactly what it sounds like. It is the record label or producer or production company gets a piece of every single pie that has to do with this talent or vocalist. And you see some of that also with I think most recently, and I have no skin in this game, but with Niji Sanji, EN, I know or have heard tale that there's something similar for Hololive talent and other talent like VTuber agencies. But we don't see the prevalence of that as much for non-affiliated talents.
Hello, Down. Welcome.
Hey. Yeah, it's not so much if you want to, because back in the music industry, it was if you want to play ball, and this was back in the 2000s and 2010s, if you want to play ball, you must sign this ridiculously constrictive contract.
Taylor Swift is a good example of that.
Yeah, exactly. Where you must, if you want to play ball in Warner Music Group's house, in Sony or EMI's house, you must sign their contract. And that contract will cost you part of your soul and everything having to do with it. Nowadays, because of the advent of the independent influencer, people are working there outside of these contracts. They're working outside of those 360 deals. And it's no longer about selling out. It's about getting that bread, so long as it fits in with sort of the perceived morality and ethos of that particular streamer or vocalist or talent. That was another one of my favorite long tangents. Sorry, I hijacked that. It just kept going. Sorry. But that's just something I've noticed, just even being on the peripheral of being a streamer or keeping abreast of, Twitch as a social construct, YouTube as a job. Though that's one of the biggest changes that I've noticed.
Yeah. Well, moving past that.
Sorry.
It's okay. Also, guys, if you haven't already, there's a poll right now. Vote in the poll. What is the best Dr. Pepper? Is it Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, Cherry Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper Cream Soda, or Strawberry Dr. Pepper? So vote on that. Ooh, somebody voted strawberry. I like it.
There's a strawberry Dr. Pepper?
Yeah,
No, there isn't.
I love it. It's so good.
No, there isn't. Yeah. That's not a... I know there's a vanilla Dr. Pepper, but there's no strawberry. What?
Yeah, strawberry and cream.
They don't sell that where I live.
So,
they better not start.
It's really good.
I'm sure it is. for some people.
Yeah.
Maybe not me.
Yeah, like if you're gonna sell your soul, get that bread. But dang, that seems worse than just being stolen to me. Yeah.
And so the only thing I have to say to that, Vapor, is that used to be the only way you could get
You had to play ball.
noticed.
You had to play
You
ball.
had to play ball because sites like SoundCloud didn't exist. Beatport didn't exist. They either or at Bandcamp they either didn't exist or their sphere of influence in the face of marketplaces like Apple iTunes, they were negligible. Spotify was not a thing at the time. Back in the 2000s and 2010s, there was no way to get your name out there because FM radio was still king. FM radio was the taste maker. And in order to get play on FM radio, you had to sign with a label. And nowadays, radio is everywhere. If you've got an internet connection, you can listen to whatever you want for free.
You could stream from Google Drive.
Yeah. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So again, that has changed the dynamic of, oh, they only signed with Fender. Even though Fender's not a great guitar company, they only signed with them because they're selling out, man. And it's like, maybe they just really like that stuff.
I was gonna say
because we're not hurt. Yeah, I'm not a guitarist, and I know that Fender's not a bad guitar company.
Fender's a very good guitar company.
That's what I was saying. Is I'm a pianist and a percussionist. I don't use Fender stuff.
Correction,
So I'm
it's
just
called-
gonna pick something I know nothing about.
Darkberry is good. Freaking, it just
Yeah.
reminds me of. Okay, hold on. Does anybody remember? Does anybody drink Mountain Dew? And if so, do you guys ever remember?
Code Red?
Do you guys ever
Code
remember
Red?
Mountain Dew Black Label?
No.
Mountain Dew Black Label was one of my favorite drinks of all time that I've ever had in my life because it was.
What?
It had
Black Label.
So let's see, Mountain.
Oh, I'm already looking it up. Oh my God! It looks like. Mountain Dew Black Label was a dark berry punch flavor of Mountain Dew and had a red, purple, magenta look, described as a deeper, darker dew.
It was delicious. I only had Black Label because it was really good for me. Anywho, Mile, we've talked a lot. So
We've just talked.
Yeah,
with no objective.
let's Vapor, you're becoming one of my new favorite people. You know what?
Yeah, Vapor's a moderator over on my stream. They're one of my longtime friends, and they're just good people. Vapor is just good people.
Yeah. Oh, Green Label
Yeah.
is Green Apple and Bitters. Oh, interesting. Interesting indeed. Well, before I ask that question, I just want to say, guys, I have a Discord server. If you're not a part of the Discord, please join the Discord. There's so many fun things we do in the Discord. We do a lot of events. I'm going to start doing giveaways in the future. Not only that, we're doing little game nights, and we're going to be doing tournaments too. So, also, if you want to talk to me, Mile, or any of my other previous guests, you can also do that. If you're a VTuber, you can set up collabs. You can post some things if for a little more visibility. We're also going to be hosting some test streams, some practice and workshop streams, so people who've never streamed before can try streaming, I say with air quotes, in the server for the first time, and they can hopefully get feedback on their stream. And so join the Discord. There's a lot of fun things to do there. Anywho, I just wanted to plug that for a little bit.
Yeah, and I wanna double up on that and say that is a very good opportunity for testing things out, especially with an established audience. If you at all are hurting for or spoiling for choice with regards to how do I get this new idea workshopped, I would take advantage of that. Absolutely. Especially if you've got like new technology that you're trying to work out. You've got your first live 2D rig or something, you want to see how it plays in an actual live environment. This is the place to do it.
And the best part about it is that anybody can do it. It'll be much like the VOD, where that way it's not overrun, where people can say, hey, can I do this on this day? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, we'll have that on that day. I'll put an announcement out so people can come and join. And that way you can stream and have a chat as, oh my goodness, I am getting gassy because of my water.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Bombastic. It's been a little bit since I've said thank you, Bombastic. But yeah, it's I ran and I hosted and I taught an improv workshop for a few years. So, you know, I love teaching people. So please, come by and join the Discord. We'd love to have you. It's a lot of fun things you can do. So
It really just as easy as saying yes. Just
You know
yes
what-
and.
You know what?
Just
Yes,
say
and. You know what's
Yes,
even
and.
easier than that?
What?
Pouring river water in your socks. It's quick, it's easy, it's free.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah,
Hold up.
Why would you do that? Because it's quick, it's easy, it's free. Pouring river water in your socks.
But what's the net benefit?
It's quick, it's easy, it's free.
You don't just do something because it's quick, easy, and free. Oh my god, you're the kind of person that would do something because it's quick, easy, and free.
Uh-huh. That's me.
How many federal crimes have you committed because it's quick, easy, and free?
Yes, all of them.
They just leave money in the bank.
Yes.
It's quick, it's easy, and it's technically free.
Wow, look at that. We had the best Dr. Pepper was normal Dr. Pepper with everything else except Diet Dr. Pepper getting 1 vote.
Jeez.
Well, anywho. Mile, it's time I asked the first and dare I say most important question.
It's been an hour.
It
I'm
has
sorry.
been an hour. It has been
Okay,
an hour.
okay. I will resist. I will resist the urge to tangent.
Put the baby in the pelican's mouth, maybe. Yo, Pitch Black. I love Pitch Black. Pitch Black is good. Died multiple times, came back as a revenant.
Sangrita.
We also
Blast?
Eureka. Yeah, but Your Honor, it was indeed quick, easy, and free.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that.
Let him go.
So, Mile, time to ask our first and most important question, and that is,
God.
who are you and what is your story?
Okay, so I am. There's a whole lot going on with me as like a person, because the first thing people are like, why shark? Why? What are you? And it's So I started off in 2015
As a flesh tuber.
as a flesh tuber, which is a spine-chilling way to describe it.
It's a spine-chilling reminder of man's folly.
Oh my god. Forsake this flesh for the cold comfort of steel and automation.
Yay, Mountain Dew microplastic!
Oh god.
Sorry, continue.
So I started off in 2015 streaming on YouTube, and I did that using an iMac, a 2013 or 2014 iMac. An iMac, and the reason was, so these were the dark days. and a lemur. What about this says lemur? What
King Julian!
started streaming audio. So again, Vapor's been around since the beginning. So before I even did, so I've been streaming since like 2011. Oh wow, yeah. If you include K Kissel, hi, welcome.
Welcome.
So if you include my DJ streaming, I did that right out of college. I've been an online streaming personality in one shape or form for 13 years now. Holy crap. I initially started off just doing DJ streams. And get out of here, TurboTax.
I'm sorry.
I initially started doing DJ streams.
Yeah.
And 2-hour-long sets. Every now and then I do a live show, in a club or something like that. But those were few and far between. My bread and butter was streaming DJ sets and live streaming. So they weren't pre-recorded. I would pick 20 to 30 songs. I want to hear Fourmyle recount a story I already know because it gives me a complex. I'll get there, I'm sure.
I will make sure we don't, because I have questions to ask.
I'm sorry. But so for the first 4 years of like my online life was doing DJ sets, 2 hours at a time, once a week, and every week every week I would do this stream, and it created this rhythm where throughout the week I would be looking on Beatport and iTunes and any other place that I could find music. I was primarily streaming EDM, so drum and bass, house, deep house, electro, some dubstep, but mostly house trance and stuff. So
You a pendulum kind of guy?
yeah, well, I used to be back in 2010, 2011. Yeah, Pendulum. The Island was a fantastic set of songs. I loved it. But it created this rhythm where the entire week would be like in the back of my mind, I'd always be looking for new music to showcase. And then once a week, I would collate or collect all of these songs that I found where I was like, oh my God, these are so cool. And they all are in one genre. So like this week's going to be house. It's a 2-hour-long house stream. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to mix these songs live together in an actual DJ set. And then the recording will be available for streaming later, wherever. And I would do that for different genres every week, and that went on up until I think 2017. And I had to stop that because I was paying for royalty stuff, but the website was hosted in the UK, and I found out through their terms of service, and I actually asked them, I actually emailed their licensing department, and I'm like, hey, I'm paying like $20 a month. This is a broad sync license, right? And they're like, nothing you pay us goes to artists. And I was like, delete. Delete goes away. I got rid of everything, and I started streaming on Mixcloud, because they do have an explicit licensing agreement with like the big three. So Warner Music Group, EMI, all that stuff. They send a portion of your monthly payment to those particular broadcasters. And they have, it used to be where you'd have to run if you were recording either and mixing in a real club, you know how they'd have a record box. Basically you'd feed audio through the record box would have a Cat5 cable coming out of it. And it would send data of what you were playing. It would analyze the waveform of what you were playing, each song, and it would send that to a licensing company, ASCAP, EMI, CSAC, and to whoever needed to pay. And then they would either charge the artist, or most often they would charge the venue licensing on a month basis. Just like your Muzak boxes in typical retail stores, you know, the retailer pays for the Muzak box, and that's what pipes in all of the top 500 hits or whatever.
Oh no, audio echo. Wait a minute.
Audio echo.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's hold on a side note. Sorry, Ghost Reaper. Well, firstly, Ghost Reaper, thank you so much.
Hi, Ghost. Welcome.
Thank you so much for coming by. Have a Dr. Pepper. Heck, have two.
Have all the Dr. Peppers.
Also, so what happens is that Discord is a garbage app, and
yes, it is.
And their bitrate with internet stuffs just sometimes for no reason it compresses the ever living crap out of it. And the bitrate just utter terribleness. So it'll come and it'll go. I tried to fix it. There's nothing I can do. That's just a Discord problem.
Yeah, it's a Discord problem. I've encountered it too, so no harm, no foul, really. But that was 2011 through 2017. I was doing DJ stuff, and then I stopped doing that for a bit. Every now and then I'll pick it back up whenever I feel like paying Mixcloud again and being like, yeah, $15 a month, sure, I'll stream once this month or something like that, and then I'll drop it for another 3 months. But the reason I jumped from doing that to streaming game content was XCOM. Oddly enough, XCOM Enemy Unknown. So
Is that the shooter one?
No.
Oh, wait,
no,
oh, is that the first
enemy,
one?
No, that's that X. I think you're thinking of XCOM, the institution, or the Illuminati, whatever. I know which one you're talking about. I just don't
Enemy
remember the
Unknown
name.
was the first one.
Yeah, well, so it was the first one. Enemy Unknown was the first like modern one. It was the first one with like
It was
the Bureau. Yeah, Ghost. It was XCOM. The Bureau was the shooter. The Egbert trials.
What?
So, okay, so there's a brief tangent with that, but so I was part of and sort of kind of check up on them every now and then now an online group called The Improbable Island. Shout out to CMJ. Hope he's still doing well. He's the chief moderator and coder for the island. The Improbable Island is a role-playing message board style website. And that's the best as I could describe it without like ruining the magic of it. But I got to know enough people on the island that they were like, I was like, hey, I just picked up XCOM Enemy Unknown. I'm gonna make each one of you people that I know from this message board into a character in my squads for XCOM. And you'd basically get to lead your friends to death, and there was nothing they could do about it. But it got to the point where just giving them text updates about like, hey, I sent you 4 guys into the field today, one of you died, and they'd be like, oh man, that sucks. I wish I could see it. And I'm like, OBS is a thing. And I could conceivably record this stuff and edit it and post it on YouTube. Because this was back in 2014, 2015. And Markiplier had just become this big, huge thing, and Game Grumps was still going, and I looked up to these YouTubers and was like, I could do that. They're not doing anything that I couldn't see myself doing.
Miles saw the opportunity and said, I can milk you.
I can milk that. So I started
Smash.
on an iMac. I have to, oh God. So I had, and this is some audio geekery right here. So I had an iMac that was feeding into through FireWire 800 into a PreSonus Fire Studio Mobile. That Fire Studio Mobile was then feeding back from out of its stereo outs or its mono outs into stereo inputs on a Motu 828X. That was then feeding back into the iMac as an input. So I had my outs through Soundflower. I was using Soundflower as a digital mixer. I basically had this giant daisy-chained digital output. This giant daisy-chained output to... Here's the best part. I was using TRS to XLR adapters. I know!
TRS to XLR!
Yeah, I was a monster, but it worked.
He said, I use a patch bay for one thing and one thing only. 32 channels.
32 I know, and I have that Motu A2X sitting in front of me right now, and the only thing I use it for is stereo out and a headphone out.
So, for those that don't know, TRS is a form of cable. It stands for tip ring sleeve. And what that means is there's a thing called a TS cable, which is tip sleeve. There's tip ring sleeve, and there's tip ring sleeve, meaning it has 2 rings. And so it's sometimes it can be, although it's incorrect, some people call it telephone line, telephone wire, but that's it. Kind of. It's akin to the old wires and patch bays that were used back with switchboard operators in the 40s and 50s and 60s at the time. And so the thing is that imagine that image of a patch bay of like a telephone operator here. I'll get an image of that. Like
yeah, go ahead and bury me deeper in the ground.
Let's see. So
yeah, my routing scheme was horrifying, but it worked. So while you're pulling that up, did you have something else you want me to continue this while you're looking for the image, or?
Yo, it's Swa.
Hey, Swa.
Hey, I've been watching your content and good stuff. Good stuff. I've been enjoying it. But welcome. So let's see. That's not a. Oh my.
Yeah, you were pulling.
Why does
So,
all
while
this
you're-
look like tech support gore?
Oh no.
It's gross.
So that wild, like, I couldn't afford much. Like, I had a full-time job at that point, but I couldn't afford any
Yeah.
like major new equipment or bespoke stuff. And actually, to that end, bespoke streaming equipment, Elgato did not have any offerings for streamers at that point. So like Go XLR didn't exist. None of that stuff worked.
Nope.
So I had to cobble together my own audio interface that would work with OBS and an iMac, which was not the primary, like Macintosh was not the primary market for OBS at the time. So yeah, Ghost, I think you might have been in part of it, but basically that got me started on recording whole episodes, just like a half hour. I remember I have to record them in 15-minute increments because I'd get audio drift if I recorded past 15 minutes. To where if I recorded an hour, audio would be roughly 5 seconds behind the video because of bitrate and drift. And so I'd have to record them in 15-minute increments, and then I edited video, and I need you to understand this. I edited video in Ableton 9.
Woo!
I know.
Huh?
I edited audio and video together because again, DaVinci wasn't a thing. Premiere Pro was expensive. I didn't have anything except Ableton. So I spent real world weeks. Just trying to get bitrate for OBS just right so that the red value wouldn't bleed out in Ableton, and I could get all this stuff. So I know that you've heard stories of like major recording studios where like all four of us dropped out of high school and started our own recording studio on a shoestring budget, and we
were next
recorded
to a train station.
Yeah,
so
we
I was-
recorded this Grammy-winning album by tying together two nuclear testing microphones
He
and
said we
putting
took-
it on an acoustic guitar. And
He said, you know that album by Steely Dan, Asia? Yeah, we recorded that in the dumpster with two SM57s.
I was-
and a dream.
I didn't know it at the time, but I was living that in my bedroom, and that just that coming through, like, I wouldn't even say suffering because you don't know at the time that you're hamstringing yourself. You're like, oh, everybody must have it this hard.
Yeah.
Like there's the fact that there's no bespoke outboard gear that specifically interfaces with OBS or
FL Studio.
F Live. What's
Oh,
the FPS one? I don't know, but there were like a couple of but we'll focus on OBS specifically. Streamlabs also didn't exist then, so there was no like real user friendly version of streaming software.
workflow-
Fraps.
the-
Fraps was what people were using at the time.
The
Fraps.
workflow was just, do you have money to fork over for outboard gear?
Exactly,
Yeah.
it was-
Use the outboard gear and then power it with your tears, and that's how you got it to work.
Yeah, so going through all that, I think, has lent a resiliency that goes to this day, where if I have equipment that just won't work, instead of buying new stuff, I'll just make it work. I think it's equal parts stubbornness and just that resiliency I had early on, where it's like, well, if this is how hard it's gonna be, I'm gonna make the best of the situation.
That's fair.
So I started, I think it was 2013 or 2015 through 2018.
Uh-huh.
I was just doing YouTube editing, like not streaming, but editing videos a la Markiplier.
Go
And I-
sleep, schmoozer. Have a good night. Don't worry. Go
Night,
back to
schmoozer.
the pillow nest. That's all anyone can ever ask. I also hope you have a good evening. Everybody, please go say goodbye to Schmoozer. The stream is recorded with an unregistered hypercam.
This unregistered hypercam 01. So
Okay.
that's how it used to be, yeah.
Here.
And
so
then
this is what a patch bay. This is one I just found. That's kind of a weird looking picture, but
yeah, got him.
if you want to see, this is kind of how routing has to go. How it kind of goes with the patch bay. No, we're not having a discussion about normalized versus half normed. No, but anyway, so how it works is, think about it like this. It works like a waterfall, where your output is on top, your input is on the bottom, and so it's weird. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but that'd take a little.
Oh yeah,
longer.
why is your input on the, or your output on the bottom, your input on the top, or your left on top and right's on the bottom? It's like, I don't fucking know. Just fuck.
But anywho,
I didn't wire this thing.
and so how this works is that you have to. You basically, it allows you more flexibility for sending things places. Now, we have a thing nowadays called Dante Virtual Sound Card, which is essentially, it takes all of this and changes it where you now can do it digitally. And it's a lot better. So they say. It's only a lot better if your internet is good.
I was about to say, like, to a point, it's better. So, at the end of 2017, 2018, I started really experimenting with doing live streaming.
Yeah?
And I don't remember if there was any particular
Yeah?
like live streamer that I was watching at the time where I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I think I was just tired of spending 5 hours. Like, I was putting out, I think at my peak, I was putting out 3 videos a week. And each video would take 3 to 5 hours for a half hour's worth of content to just do basic edits on, much less cool little spinny effects and Premiere Pro and all that stuff. So that work eventually got just stale to me, to the point where I still owe Vapor like 5 episodes of Night in the Woods. I just never finished Battle Chef Brigade and Night in the Woods. I still have 1 episode of Night in the Woods from, I think, 2020 that I haven't edited yet. I'm sorry.
Rip.
It's still rip. It's still in my backlogs.
And this is what we're gonna do. I mean, did you ever finish Echo? It do be like that. So also I'm gonna do this. If I feel we're both getting off of on a tangent, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that, and that's
fair.
That's gonna bring us back.
Yeah, because we got like 35 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on the clock too. I know you got places to be, and I don't want to hold you up. And you've been a very gracious host.
You've been a very gracious guest, and you've been a very gracious chat. Oh my gosh,
audience!
I will.
Also, Ghost, yes, I did finish Echo.
Also,
that was
if you
God,
guys,
Echo was 2018.
All I gotta say, guys, that if you follow me, you get to throw 25 Dr. Peppers off the bat, and then you get 300 channel points, so you can throw another 50 Dr. Peppers. So please consider following so you can throw more Dr. Peppers at me. I'm just saying. It's a win-win situation.
This video has been uploaded to xshark.com.
Escape the XCOM. This video has been uploaded to xshark.com.
So,
that and Helldive.
So yeah, like I said, please consider following so you can throw Dr. Pepper. It's a win-win situation. You get to throw it, I get to get it. I'm just saying.
Oh, so
my gosh, there we go. So it's
so.
I'm actually.
So I will say, just briefly, sorry to cut you off. Yay, Ghost! Thank you.
Thank you, Finch, for the 100 biddies.
That was how I got started. That was how I got started in streaming. But the shark just came about because I said for the longest time I was like, I'm not a furry. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. But I kept.
Thank you for following. Thank you for following Vapor.
But enough time went by that I was just like, man, fuck it. Let's see if I can. I got tired of showing my face on camera all the time, especially when I saw other VTubers and YouTubers doing such cool, fun stuff with VTubing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that seems like it's a lot. I say this now, but I was thinking it then, but it's not true now. This seems like a lot less work than just showing my face on camera.
And looking back, you realize that, man, there's a lot of work that goes into this that a lot of people don't understand.
There's a lot of work that goes into this, and while you trade one set of problems for another, and one set of opportunities for another, I don't have to worry about clapping my hands at the beginning of every recording session to sync up video and audio with waveforms and plosives, but at the and transients. But on the other hand, I don't have a model that can show emotion. My models consist of gremlin, sexy daddy with jacket, and bad at driving. Those are my models.
Your model right now, I love. It also just looks like you're on your way to go pick up your kids from
you know what?
daycare.
Perfect. That's the himbo energy I'm going for. Is
It's really, but the thing is, I love it. I mean, you can never go wrong with a good polo shirt. I love wearing polo shirts.
Oh my gosh, and the artist is PGM300. I will put them in chat. It's at PGM300 on Twitter. They do fantastic work. They are a gentle bean. Be nice to them. Understand that they are very in demand, but their rates are fair. Their art is spectacular, and they're a pleasure to work with. I've never had a bad time working with them. So yeah, 100%. And
Bimbo,
and they'll
himbo.
Yeah.
He's polo shirt.
I'm too scrawny.
Set my autism on
Autocorrect.
fire. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Now you talk about this, and you talk about transitioning from be a himbim.
Yeah,
That's me.
himbum. Okay, so I continue. That is how I became or came to be who I am so far. That's like my origin story.
Mm-hmm. Now I always think it's interesting that you're bringing that up, because something I see a lot on your social media feed, especially on Twitter, is you post a lot of images and a lot of videos about your IRL activities, and we've seen your face. You can, if you want to know what he looks like, you can find it on his social media.
I'm not shy about that.
And so and the thing is that who died in your origin story?
Who died?
Yes.
So remember I was talking about that outboard gear I had a while. I had to I went through a lot of Akai APC 40s DJ. I was not kind to the faders on a lot of my outboard equipment.
He said a lot of those pads are just caved in.
I still have my first APC 40 and I use it for spare parts.
Oh my gosh. But But having all this visible online, it makes me, because for instance, sometimes when we see a lot of these bigger VTubers, for instance, one of my favorite ones, Merriweather Media, thing is, people are like, what does he look? And the thing is, he has his face out there in the world. You can find a picture of his face because he's done interviews, because before he became a VTuber, he still did webtoons and webcomics.
Yeah.
And so he was interviewed several times and put on camera. You can find the interviews on YouTube. He looks like what you'd expect from somebody who is Danish. Somebody, just white. That's it.
That's describe in a word the ideal Danish or Dane.
But
It's like
no, white. But the thing is
just
like,
what is that?
he just looks like a normal person. Because the thing is, just you could find that, and so, but nowadays he doesn't show his face. And, but the point I'm trying to get at is, what do you achieve by showing your face as opposed to hiding behind your persona and who you are? What do you achieve by allowing people to see who you are behind the mask, beneath the mask?
So I like that question. And there's no but there. I like that question, and I've thought about that on and off. I've caressed. Yes, Vapor. I have met Vapor, and I have met in real life, and he has indeed been like baby, and I've been like, oh, you baby too. I think it gets rid of some of the parasocial mystery, for one. So it goes back to I'm just lazy and stubborn.
Yeah.
This is one thing. So I started off imitating as much as I could Markiplier, and other YouTubers like him. And VTubing wasn't a thing back then until Kizuna AI. There really wasn't this huge surge in people using their iPhones to capture their faces, to transplant 20 different points on their face to a program that could then insert that data into a VTuber studio that would then present this mythical creature that would also have facial expressions. Like that technology did not exist when I started YouTubing. So I started off under the name Fourmyle with my face already out there. And I eventually created this community that already knew what I looked like. And the transition over to this, shark PNG you see before you wasn't so much a leave me alone, shutting my windows and doors and drawing the blinds like, I want to talk to you. It was more like, hey, I want to see creatively where I can go with this. Oh my God, Vapor did. He left a burn marks on the back of my white shirt. So it's more of it's pragmatic in the sense that people already know what I look like. There's no point in me trying to scrub those images from the internet. But also, I've seen plenty of VTubers be successful in doing that. And I think that, so for example, Kason started in HoloLive, moved over to now VShojo, but a big part of her image and her brand is doing IRL stuff. She shows up in Yakuza games and dating simulators, and she has her own IRL streams and stuff. So the idea of, I never really liked the idea of limiting what I could contribute to the community that I've created. And it is so much cheaper to post videos of me knocking it out of the park on a climbing wall than spending $500 on new banner art. So when people are like, where's the new content? It's like, hold on, fam, I just did a shooting competition. Let me post the edits from that, as opposed to people who have bigger budgets creating that art, creating that music, creating that more bespoke content. If the algorithm, and like I said, it's pragmatic in that if the algorithm is looking for new content for its sort of its audience to engage in, I can satisfy that content in a way that, one, isn't prohibitively expensive and also feels true to me.
Yeah.
I'm very much a person who enjoys the things I showcase. So I'm very much into physical fitness, especially when it comes to climbing. I'm very much into firearms when it comes to just like how they work mechanically and competing with them in sport. I'm very much into driving, and just getting to barely. So somewhat. So like all of these things, it doesn't feel off-brand to show these outside of some PNG doing these things. And if anything, the PNG is more like, hey, we're going live. I'm gonna go ahead and put my shark face on, my shark suit on, and get into the internet. This is how I view myself, and this goes back to the Improbable Island. This PNG that I put on is how I view myself online. But outside of that, I am a human being who does things as a human being with all these human traits. And if you'd like to see the stuff that I do and you enjoy that, I will continue providing that content. So I don't I don't see a disconnect there. They're all the sides of the same coin.
So what it sounds like to me is you keep your work life and your personal life separate, where your work life is who your VTuber is. Like in terms of the internetscape, when you stream, that's your work life. That's who you know, this is who I see myself as. And once that's done, you take off the suit and you're a human, my immersion. Ah!
My immersion!
Are you telling me you're not a furry? I don't know why.
And so yes, to a point or to a degree, that's it. But it's a lot less intentional. At least how I approach it, it's a lot less intentional than that.
It's not one of those things where you wake up and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna be cheeky, and I'm going to say this is what I am doing. I'm no longer on stream, therefore you're getting the real Mile."
Yeah, you're getting the real deal, the unfiltered Fourmyle. It's like and I think this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, how I started off as the name Fourmyle. I started DJing with no face, no, barely any artwork. Just the music was my brand. My skill as a DJ, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask, was the brand, was the content. And eventually I moved over to streaming and doing YouTube videos, and then my face was the content and the brand. And now the brand and the content is more than that. It's basically whatever I want it to be. Whether it's the music I make, or the PNG you're looking at right now, or the videos that I post on Twitter. I feel like I can create a healthy work-life balance where the things that I stream and the things I put on Twitter are the work, but I don't feel like, oh man, I can't do or say X thing because it goes against my brand. It's like, I'm just here to chill out and have fun. And I think
it's a feeling of what you see is what you get.
Yes, exactly. Which is what I've never wanted to be anything other than the silliest himbo that you can find on the internet, because that's just who I am as a person. So I've never felt that I had to act a certain way or have a certain persona. I think I've benefited from that in terms of like mental health. But I know people, and so here's the other thing. I know people who have been very successful, professionally and personally, by having an act or a persona that they feed into as a job, and then at the end of the day, they take off that suit and they go about their life as an otherwise unknown person. And that works for some people.
That's kind of,
and that's not
like
necessarily an
I
unhealthy thing.
Like,
yeah,
because when I stream, it's, I'm not saying that I'm a different individual underneath this, scribbled on facade. I'm what you see here is that's how I am out in the real world. But it certainly is something where when I hit end stream, I immediately take that face off, and I am now, who I am inside. I'm like, okay, I can kind of relax. I can kind of change mindsets. But as soon as I have to talk with somebody as Val and not as me, that's when I have to be like, oh, okay, all right, professional face on, got to do my hair, got to do my makeup, and go present myself. And so like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing, because it allows.
It's just a different way of operating.
Exactly, it's no different than taking one. Just taking one input, unplugging it, and just taking a different input and plugging it back in, but you're still getting the same output.
Yeah.
So I'm not
just going through a different Neve filter. It's fine.
A different
got
Neve
that manly
filter.
Massive passive.
You really like Neve, don't you?
Nah.
He's like, it's like, man,
it's convenient.
That's the same answer. That's exactly
like you really like Heinz ketchup, don't you? It's just what's on the table, my dude.
Well, it's like you must be like, man, you must really like Pro Tools, and I'm just like, it's what's available.
It's what's available. Like, don't
Look,
we're starved for choice.
I
Okay,
walk into
know
a
what I'm worth.
studio. I walk into a studio. They have a jug of water, salt, pepper shakers, some napkins, and Pro Tools open. What am I supposed to do?
What am I recording with? Not a hydrophone. That was your hint.
I'm not neurotypical enough to put on a completely new persona. I'm probably more real on my streams than I am in person. Understandable. I wish I could kind of push that out there. Out more, except present my inner self rather than my normal self. It's one of those things. You may. Oh, welcome, Willow.
Hey, Willow.
Also, I saw your little post on Twitter about your little mother-daughter thing, which I thought was really adorable. Your little the other one I can't remember their name, but it also is like Willow. So I thought it was adorable.
No, the bit right.
Sorry, continue.
So I will cap this off because I know we're running out of time here. I will cap this off by saying that my approach to being an internet personality is influenced by two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, I'm not a big player. I don't have yet. I don't. It made Mile squee sound watery.
I hit enter by accident.
I have an unfettered control over what I do with my identity and my brand online. I'm not beholden to any production company or manager or anything like that, for better or worse. I retain the ability to do what I want when I want and to pivot as quickly or as slowly as I want in a new direction, which I enjoy that amount of freedom, but it also, I will say that you really have to be self-motivated to move forward in a positive direction. I have been, so for example, I've been trying to do live 2D stuff on and off for the past year and a half, and I just keep, I don't have the motivation to keep going for it. Not because I don't want to, but because I'm just like, ooh, shiny thing over here, let's find this. And it's just, I'm 100%, my attention is on something else in an instant.
Yeah.
And then two, my approach to how I am online, even outside of how I present myself as like a PNGtuber or on Twitter, etc., is because, like we were talking before, you and I grew up in a pre-broad internet through today, where the internet permeates every aspect of your life.
You grew in the
so
genesis
we had the
of
opportunity, the genesis,
and,
and
I grew
that
up in the refinement period. So
yeah.
You grew up when it was being hit with a hammer, and I was when it was being sculpted.
I was at the anvil getting sparks in my face as we were forging the modern internet, and you were there while the bellows was going, cooling it down.
Yeah.
It was as the fire was being quenched in a bubbling vat of water. Like, we got it.
Heck yeah.
So I don't feel alone in that either. I feel, because I was raised that, never share your real name online. And as paradoxical as it sounds, few people know my real name online, but they all know the name Fourmyle. But everyone knows what I look like.
Your name is
and
Doug.
I find that interesting in a sociological sense, where we're more comfortable sharing our faces on TikTok with the world, and people can plaster our face, or they can know our face and match it with a screen name, but it is beyond the pale to quote unquote dox someone and provide their real name. And I think a lot of that has to do, rightly so, with consent.
It's one of those
It is, like, you have to be willing to divulge that information. Like you said, some people are willing to share their real IRL faces with the world in conjunction with their VTuber self or their brand or their more professional personality. And other people aren't. And both are perfectly valid. And if people want to be completely private on the internet and share none of that, that is their prerogative, and go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's just how I was raised, and how I'm kind of matured on the internet has made it so that I feel comfortable sharing my face. Just don't dox me, bro. We'll be good as long as all you know about me is my handsome face and my sharky personality. We're golden.
You know, it's funny, Finch. I know an IRL person named Finch, and they're really cool. Like, I haven't talked to them in a little bit, but they're really cool. I've never met somebody named Finch who's not, like, a cool person. So, I just want to say that.
Yeah. Finch is cool people.
Finch is cool people? So,
Finch
yeah.
is cool people.
Very quickly, is there any last-minute advice you think you could give to somebody who would contemplate wanting to be more open about who they are, or just, like, you know, if that's a route they decide to go into? You have any advice for that, to do it safely?
Okay, so yes. One is not even one, but the general consensus about the internet is that whatever gets put on the internet is there forever, and nothing screams that more than the Wayback Machine. If something is put on the internet, it's there forever somewhere. That's the scary part of exposing yourself in as little or as much of a capacity as you want. But there's benefits to doing that as well. There's benefits to making your face known, or making your personality, or feeding more of like your offline personality into your, for example, if you're like a PNGtuber or a 2D live VTuber, something like that. Feeding more of your authentic self into that character or that persona makes you more authentic, makes that particular character that much more relatable. And it's a give and take, but it doesn't have to be unhealthy. That balancing act is gonna be weighed differently for different people. I would recommend taking it slow. You don't have to be like me and be like, hey guys, it's your boy Fourmyle here. Today we're gonna be shooting a 12-gauge shotgun out in the backwoods. Here's my full face. Here's the serial number of my rifle, and here's what I'm wearing today. We got some Gucci with some...
My man just said, hey, today on this episode of Demolition Ranch...
Put a thumb on it, it's fine. So you don't have to, off the bat, do that to get that authenticity, or to feel comfortable in lending that authenticity to your online personality. You can be as restrictive and as secretive as you want. And it all comes down to your comfort level. Some people will not feel comfortable sharing even their voice online. And I know this isn't an exact correlation or parallel, but think about VTubers like Zentreya. They use a text-to-speech voice.
They do.
And are known for it and work that technology so well. And they're popular and they're authentic, and yet you don't know their real face, you don't know their real name, you don't know their real voice. That's fine. You can go the route of creating a persona and a media presence that only has fiction in it. But you can still fill that fiction with personality and some level of authenticity that makes it real enough. Or you can do what I do, be stubborn as heck, and really lazy, and just be like, I'm just gonna post a video of myself looking swole as heck at the gym because I know that's what the ladies like, or something along those lines.
Straight up went Mungdal with that.
But like, I think that's the great thing about platforms, as flawed as they are. The great things about platforms like Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube is that they give you that space to be that sort of creative, to discover what works not only for you as a content creator, but also as someone who is heading a community. Because that's effectively what you are. Whether you're just posting the latest, like, Mom, look, I did a kickflip on your video channel that has, like, 1 subscriber. Or someone who's as big as, Cover Corp, with all their Hololive VTubers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You're all leaders of a community. So this whole tangent I should sum it up in like 2 points. What are you comfortable with? And what kind of community do you want to create? Those are questions that you should be asking yourself whenever you make a big change or adopt a new technology or decide you want to go in a new direction creatively. What feels right to you? And what kind of community do you want to create out of it?
It's your stream. Use it how you want.
J.G. Wentworth, give me my affiliate now.
Stream it when you need it. Yeah, I think that's very sound advice. And whether or not y'all will see my face in the future, I don't know, probably not. Unless I become
Which is perfectly fine.
Unless I become a big voice actor, then you will, and then I'll have to be like,
JGV tubing.
Yeah.
877. Give me the cash.
I want to create a community of feral homunculi. this guy, Full Metal Alchemists.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But so that's, I think that's the best advice that I could give for anybody who's at least trying to start out or already has a foothold with a solid community. Yeah. Oh, and the third thing too. So what's comfortable for you? What helps you build a healthy community? You know, how is that going to help you build a community that you want? And 3, don't, like, when you're first starting out, don't look at the numbers. And I have sad advice or sad news for everybody. You already gone, done, lost. You are not, I actually learned this from Joel Zimmerman, Deadmau5, back when I was starting DJing. Boys and girls, you already lost. You're not going to get picked up by a big label. You're not going to become the next Cover Corp idol. You're not going to become the next Markiplier. Those slots are already filled. And much like in an orchestra, you might be the 2nd or 3rd chair violinist, but everyone is waiting for the 1st chair to fucking die or quit before they can become 1st chair. So long as you're all waiting for that, it's not going to happen.
It's okay
that doesn't mean you can't. It doesn't mean you can't be super successful. It just means that the normal traditional avenues of success are not something that you should necessarily be concerned with.
Yeah.
Your follower count, your view count, those are good metrics, but they don't indicate success.
Yeah.
Exactly what Tathan said. Make your own fucking orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
If what's right for you or what's good for you, going to that first point, what feels good to you is, I want to be financially successful. You might turn out like me. I have a regular 9-to-5 job. And that is what feeds into, and a lot of successful VTubers and online personalities do. Influencer is not their moneymaker. Influencer is their thing that the money pays for. Sorry. Shit.
That's
Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, no. You can finish that thought.
Okay, I was about to say, so don't be preoccupied too much with the number. That's my third point. Don't be preoccupied too much with the numbers. The numbers are a great metric, but they're not the end-all be-all, and they don't mean that you're successful. Don't judge your success based off if you got affiliate or partner or anything like that. That's not a that does not. But it doesn't mean that you're successful, especially not to yourself. Cool. All right, those are my 3 points. Woohoo!
Cuban Pete from the mask. There you go. I'll piggyback off that, and then we're gonna speed run these last 10 questions.
Sorry.
That's
okay. Yes.
fine.
1-word answers. Got it. Sorry.
But this is all I'll say. It's the same advice I give to people, and that I've heard for years. If you want to become a voice actor, it's very simple. Just take classes. Take acting classes. Really know people. Make some network connections. Get a good setup. Have a lot of fun. You really get used to it. And wait till Troy Baker, Nolan North, or Laura Bailey will die.
Exactly. The best advice, just fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. just do it, take it as far as you think you can or want to, and then if it doesn't work out, okay, move on to the next thing.
Just remember, there's nothing wrong with being second place. You want to know why? Because it means you're not tearing your own throat out trying to kill the person trying to be in first. Everybody wants to be in first. Nobody wants to be in second. You want to know something? A second chair in an orchestra still gets paid.
Still gets paid, and they're right next to the first chair, so if first chair ducks out, you're right there.
Yup. So just know, not everybody has to be that first chair violinist. More people would rather have somebody that they can reliably have in that second chair, because they're having to work just as hard, if not harder. Anywho, let's get into these last questions.
All right, rapid fire. Let's do this. I'm ready.
All right, so these
Lightning
are
round.
the 10 questions I asked that were created and curated by James Lipton, famous writer, actor, director of Inside the Actor Studio, that he would ask to all of his actor guests at the very end of every show. There is no right or wrong answer, so just answer according to the feelings of your heart. Are you ready?
Oh, God.
So
I'm ready.
thank you for that. Functional chord. Sorry, Stephen Hawking. Make what you want to make what you want to see, and if you don't want to make what you're making, make something else. Amen to that.
Exactly.
What is your favorite word? Neve?
Curious.
I think
That's the first thing that popped into my head.
I think it's Neve.
Neve. Excuse you. It's actually Mark of the Unicorn.
Nobody says Mark of the Unicorn anymore.
No one says Motu anymore.
Get out
of here.
What's funny is there's still some gear in my studio that is in the studio I work in that is labeled Mark of the, like I didn't know it was, and I was like, what the heck? What the heck is
That's what Motu stands
what is
for.
Motu?
Mark of the Unicorn.
And I didn't know that. All right, what is your least favorite word?
Stop.
Stop. Oh.
Stop. So, and there's that was again the first thing that came to mind, but like when I am working on a project, like that, what is your favorite word? So I'm very bad at quitting things, which also lends itself to the fact that I'm not good at like following through with stuff. I try to make music at the same time as I try to do the voiceover stuff, as I try to work on PNG stuff, as the same time I try and work on stream stuff, as the same time I try and work on extracurricular stuff, as the same time I try to work on my competition shooting stuff, as the time I work on gym stuff. So I don't like being told I have to stop doing something, but I also only have a finite amount of attention and resources to work on stuff.
Yeah.
So as much as I hate it, sometimes I do have to stop and actually pick stuff that I'm gonna work on.
Just remember.
And I hate that.
Just remember, if you're running so fast and you never stop to see what's around you, you eventually will hit a wall.
Thanks, Dad.
What turns you on?
Thanks, Coach.
What turns
me
you on? Creatively, spiritually, emotionally.
Okay. Okay, so I gotta say, if I see, oh God, this is gonna make me sound so materialistic. If I thighs, yo, he ain't wrong though. He be spitting.
Based.
So I will make. Nothing gets me back into the studio more than a new. They're not wrong, buff women. Nothing gets me back into the studio faster than a new piece of kit or a new synth or a new VST.
All right.
Like that, 100%. And I'll spend $100, not frequently, but I'll spend $100 on like an 8-bit synthesizer that I'll use for like a song, and then I'm like, that was fun, and then never use it again.
What turns you
I am
off?
100% that person.
Women with swords.
Women with swords. No, that turns me on too. That's okay. What turns me off? Being, oh gosh. I think being stuck in a rut.
Ooh.
Whether it's creatively or otherwise, it's difficult for me to. No, I know actually. If we go back to just making a song, what turns me off and what frustrates me the most is I get severe demoitis. And for those of you who don't know what that is, for people who are making a song, especially for like bands, they'll hear a demo of their song You know, they'll be done recording, they'll go into the studio to hear it as a rough mix. They'll listen to whatever their mixing engineer has slapped together in like 30 minutes, and they'll be like, oh yeah, man, that sounds great, that sounds awesome. And then that project will come back from the mastering engineer. And they'll be like, this sounds like shit, I hate it, I liked it better the first time. But because they're just used to playing the song a certain way, hearing the song a certain way, experiencing the song a certain way, that when it becomes refined or altered in some way, even if it's objectively better, it's not the same. And I am 100% that person. Nothing turns me off more than change that I didn't budget for or anticipate. It makes me curl up in my shell, and I don't like it. I'm a control freak, 100%.
What is your favorite curse word?
Shit. It's definitely shit. It's 100% shit. Shit is great. If I fall off a wall, shit. If I miss a target, shit. If I'm running late, shit.
Jeez.
Jeez, dude.
What's your favorite
shit.
curse word?
Well, you know what? I think that is just the Midwestern crap. Crap. Crud.
Yeah.
Crud. Jeez.
What sound or noise do you love?
Ope. 100%.
What sound or noise do you hate?
100% ope.
It's the opposite of ope.
Whatever. What's that? Chibi numa doopy daba dooba 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 boom boom boom. That song. That is my new hate. I hate
Metal
it.
pipe noise? Please no.
Metal pipe noise. No, I've heard so many VTubers just singing that off the cuff, and I don't know what it's from. I don't vibe with it. It makes them happy, which makes me happy.
Oh yeah,
but
my headphones are getting properly broken, and after like almost 2 years of using them, where the leather on the ear cups are being rubbed off.
Oh gosh, my what am I using right now? I've got ATM M50Xs.
Oh.
They haven't had leather on the cups for probably the past 3 years.
Not even using.
They're nothing but fabric.
Not even using the MDR 7506s.
Hey! I got 7509s. They're in my closet.
My man's not even using the HD6 Hundos by old mate Senny.
Stop it. At this point, I'm gonna email you a set of Sennheiser Urbanites, and you're just gonna be like, "The hell am I supposed to do with these?" I'll be like, "They've got the flattest response I've ever heard, bruh."
Clearly, somebody's never used a Skull Candy headphone with a boost
yeah,
setting.
Skull Candy boost with Beats audio built in.
Yes. What sound or noise do you... pardon me. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
So I don't. So my 9 to 5 is not in music. It actually doesn't use my degree at all.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the troubleshooting I do for studio problems and things, it has actually, like, my 9 to 5 has actually streamlined my ability to troubleshoot issues tremendously.
So then what other would you...
I would very much like to get into voiceover work. Actually, that's one of my 2024 goals is I want to have a demo for agent use by the end of 2024. Hopefully before the end of Q3. Yeah.
If you ever need help with
I've already done I've gone through classes, I have homework. I need to schedule another class, but that's one of my 2024 goals.
Oh, hey, Dominico, I didn't see you.
Hey, Dominico.
So yeah, well, I mean, we can see what we can do to get that happening. What profession would you not like to do?
I really hate anything that involves menial tasks. I would hate to be and no offense to anybody who does this. My idea of hell is being an Amazon package fulfillment center warehouse worker. Like that has the markings of everything I hate. I hate repetitive tasks. I hate the monotony of having a quota to fill. That was actually one of the reasons. So for a while after college and in college, I did studio work, but there's something very different about being an intern in a studio versus Amazon commercial, right? There's something very different about being an intern in a studio as opposed to being a contributing engineer in
Yeah.
a studio. An intern, at best, is a go. And if you're an intern that doesn't do this, no offense, this was just my experience. An intern, in my experience, was a gopher and would do the menial, like, someone's got to clean up the studio.
Go for
it's going
this,
to be
go
you.
for that.
So someone's got to lay out the
Yeah.
mics for this session. You're going to be the one to do it. But there was never anything creative about it. You're always doing what someone else wants you to do or says to do.
Yeah.
You have very little creative leeway as an intern.
Yeah.
So one of the things that killed my interest in studio work the fastest was doing 3 years of internships at different studios and constantly being the gopher. And so that's something. My worst job idea would be someone who has no problem solving leeway or no way to creatively overcome problems. In effect, an assembly one.
Yeah. All right, last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Democracy's not done with you yet.
This guy, Helldivers.
Get back there, democracy isn't done with you yet.
Super Earth is calling.
Super Earth is calling. I honestly, so, and this is another like our IRL thing. I was raised Roman Catholic, but I don't consider myself particularly devout. So I'd be shocked that God had anything to say to me in the first place. But I think as much as I like to think that I don't require outside validation to know that I'm living life the way I want it to be lived, or that I'm living life the way I want to, I think it'd be really cool if some higher power was like, yeah, that's exactly what I kind of had in mind for you there. Good job.
Because like the way this question
Like-
is what do you want? Like, what would you want to hear God say to you if he exists?
Just be like, huh, that was a cool 103 years you lived there.
Yeah, I like it. Well, this has been a lot of fun. It's time for us to wrap this up. So I will ask the very last and second most important question, and that is, who should we raid?
Okay,
So while you figure that out, I'm gonna get all this set up. And I will talk with chat for a moment. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today on this this episode of the VOD. It's been a lot of fun, and all of you new people, thank you so much for coming by and supporting our wonderful guest today. You guys are so much fun, and you guys are awesome. Keep throwing the Dr. Peppers, and if you haven't already, consider giving a follow. That way you can see and support me as I continue to do this, and I continue to have so many more wonderful VTubers on my show. Not only that, please go support Fourmyle here. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy, and he joins us with a lot of different streams. So please show some love and support. Not only that, if you're not a part of it already, join the Discord. I'd love to have you in there. I probably won't be in the Discord right after stream today because I gotta go donate plasma, but I will probably be in it tonight. So if anybody wants to join tonight, play some games or activities and talk with me, or anybody else who joins, I'd love to have you. It'd be a lot of fun. With that in mind, our next guest on Friday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here for the VOD, is going to be Snowy Tequila. And after that on Saturday, it will be Mercury Winds. So thank you so much for joining us today. And who do we have to follow?
So right
Raid.
now, follow. I was about to say. So Cynical is streaming Dungeons and Dragons right now. Cynical Bunny.
Now the question is, do you have somebody else who we haven't seen? That way we can introduce a brand new.
Oh,
Yeah.
good point. Good point. Your friends are calling for you, Fourmyle. So I've been really bad about getting together and playing with Vapor and the gang. We used to do Rainbow Six Siege really often. And actually, if Vapor was streaming right now, I would say you should follow Vapor. I don't have anybody right now that is streaming, but Stump. So the Swarm Oka, and I will put their name in chat right now.
Perfect. Also, the
They're
first
not streaming right now, but I would highly recommend you go watch them. They're a smaller streamer, and they are fantastic. And you can follow Vapor as well. Vapor puts on good streams too, and Also, Vapor usually is ahead of the curve technology-wise. So if Vapor is doing something cool with their tech, I usually just steal it from them and incorporate it into my own. So, like, yeah. Those are two people I would highly recommend. The Swarm Oka is a good Genshin streamer. They typically will stream Genshin. And then Vapor is kind of an all-around streamer. They're really good with tech. And I gotta say, I would not be nearly as far along as I am without Vapor's support.
So if neither,
I mean, everybody
if neither one
follows
is
me, but yeah.
live right now, do you mind if I suggest one?
Oh, please do. Yes.
So then-
I don't want to hold you up.
So then why don't I recommend Mercury Wins, because she is live right now and she's going to be our guest next week.
Yo! Yes, that's a perfect idea. And also, thank you very much for having me. This was
Yeah.
a pleasure. You are a very gracious host. You've
You're a
been
very
very
gracious
patient
guest.
with me. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for the Danganronpa stream.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Anywho, I will put some stuff out in the Discord for the Storm Oka, and as well, anybody who wants to follow Vapor, I highly recommend it. Probably be really fun. So with that in mind, my name is Val, this is Fourmyle, and let's get that raid going, because I need to eat from protein right now.
Yeah, sorry for keeping you so long. Thanks for having me.
No,
Bye!
We're not done yet. I gotta wait till the thing is 4 seconds.
Ah, shoot, I don't know. Does someone play me off? Band, play me off. Play me out. Yes, Persona 5.